Ah, Ventura, California. Very cool.
Ventura.
Love that. All right, so we're 12:22. I'm gonna give it one more minute because I really want to see a little bit more participants jump in here, and then we're gonna get started because I don't want you to be late to period two at
Yeah.
all. That's the
They're
teacher in
still
me.
they're they're still rolling in though,
They're
Steph.
rolling.
They're
I
still rolling
know.
in.
I know. Hey,
Hi,
Natasha.
Natasha.
Hello.
We got a good group. We got a good group. We're
Awesome.
over 50. Over 50
I
here.
know.
Oh my gosh, that's
I
great. And
know.
there's
Let's
still a lot of
Yeah.
go.
people making their way over
They're
from
making
the,
their
Yeah.
way.
from the
Yes. So
welcome
we're gonna give
session,
it another minute.
getting used to the Zoom lobby for the first time. And I'll just let you guys know I'm going to be here to answer questions. So I'll be in chat. I'll be on the Q&A, typing away. If there's any questions that come up, I will do my best to answer them. So I'm going to go ahead, go off camera, start typing, and I'm going to leave it to Michael and Stephanie.
Yes, and I do think I'm going to get started. I know just like any classroom teacher, you're going to have some people kind of come in a little bit later, and that's totally fine. But you're here now. I want to get started. I want to respect your time and make sure you get to period two in time. I don't want to be in trouble. I don't want to be the reason why you're late at all. So welcome. We are so happy that you're here for the 2026 Summit Period One session. My name is Steph Quarantoto. I'm an account manager for TCI. I'm based out all the way down in Pennsylvania, right outside of Philadelphia. I was a classroom teacher for 13 years, K-5, taught fourth grade, and then dabbled in some other younger grades as well. And I'm really excited to be in this session with you. Joining me is my colleague, my friend, Michael Washington. I'm going to give him a quick second to say hello, and then we're going to get started.
Hello, everybody. I'm also really excited to have you guys here today. Like Stephanie mentioned, my name is Michael Washington. I am a former high school teacher in the Sacramento, California area for 22 years, and now I'm an account manager at TCI of the West Coast. And I'm just really excited to have you guys here today and ensure all the ways that we can engage you and your students.
Yes. And very similarly to if you were in Bert's session when he welcomed everybody, real quick housekeeping tips. It sounds like everybody knows how to use it already, but the Q&A button, please, if you want to know anything or if you have any questions, please feel free to put your questions in chat. Natasha or Michael will be able to help you out with that. Please make sure it says everyone. And then we also have closed captions because I sometimes like to read a transcript here and there. So please feel free to use that feature as well. We have about 40-ish minutes together, so I want to kind of zip through this part. We've already done our introduction, so we can check that off our box. But we're going to get ready to do an icebreaker. We're going to introduce our TCI instructional strategies. We're going to do a lesson immersion together as if we were students in a classroom. And then we will identify some strategies and modalities that will really transform engagement in your classroom. We'll wrap it out. We'll get you out of here in time so you can go to second period. So, really quickly, I remember my first year of teaching. You know how we all are as first year teachers, right? We're excited, we're nervous, and I remember that I was getting observed in a lesson, and and I said to my principal, like, I feel like sometimes some of my students aren't engaged. They just don't feel like they really want to learn. And he said, stop right there. He said, every student wants to learn. Every student wants to be successful. But the trick is they don't all learn the same way and they don't all learn the same day. So I really love this quote because when we think about engagement, we really do have to think about all the natural learning styles that our students have in order for them to connect with content and be able to retain that information. So, we're going to do a quick icebreaker for you. We want to see kind of how do you learn? How are you engaged with something? So, I want you to think. This is probably it happened to all of us. I know it's happened to me, but Michael's like, "Yep." 10 minutes before your morning bell rings, what is in the staff office or lounge? It's the arch nemesis of every single teacher. Before I kind of do the big reveal, answering in chat, what do you think the arch nemesis is in your staff or office lounge that will prevent you from getting? They're so smart.
Madison,
Boom.
Caitlin,
I mean, that was like 5 seconds. I mean, you guys. Oh, someone said
my
my boss.
boss.
You couldn't be more right. It
The-
is the
I like
cop.
the bathroom because I know the K-5 teachers you guys don't get to go very often,
No,
so you
we're
got to
like
make sure
peeking
you
out
get
of
in
our
there.
door. It is the copier. That took you no time. I thought there'd be a little bit of a struggle, but there's not. That copier machine is always down. It's like right before you need something. So here's what I would like you to do, okay? And I promise this is going to tie into, this is going to be the bridge into what we're doing today. I want you to take a quick peek. You're going to take your phone out first. You're going to scan this Mentimeter. I'm actually going to go ahead and play a fun little song that I wanted to add here. But you are going to use one of these images of what you would do if your printer is broken and you need to get to class. So read through each of the choices of how you would fix this printer. And we're going to watch all of your responses rolling. So you can pick more than one, too, by the way. Someone's pushing buttons makes me laugh.
Stephanie, you really like this song. I mean, you're like, we know what type of teacher you are. You're that one that was blasting music in your classroom.
I mean, I am an elementary school teacher, so I love a lot of fun, right? All right. It's gonna slowly die down with our music. It ends very shortly. Okay, perfect. So this is our poll results. This is what we think you would do or you would do if you needed to fix your printer. And the truth is, every single image is tied to a style of learning how to be successful in something. Whether you're reading the instructions, watching a video, looping in a colleague that doesn't want to be a part of the problem, but you've now created them part of the problem to help you. Pushing buttons, writing things down, or calling your secretary, and hopefully they're going to be really helpful. But all of these are ways that you solved a problem. All of them are ways that you were able to get that printer up and working so that you were successful in your
Hey,
instruction. And,
Stephanie, I'm curious.
yep.
What was your solution to this to solving the printer problem?
Oh my gosh. Probably a couple of them. I think I would push buttons first, and then I think I would grab a colleague, and then if I really had to get to class, I'd be like, it's the secretary's
So
problem now.
you
Sorry.
so what you're telling me is this: there's more than one way to learn how to do something.
Yes, there is
All right,
always more than one way. And that
all right.
is today's session. We're going to talk about engagement through multiple ways to connect with content. That was a great bridge, Michael. So I want you, whether or not you knew this, TCI is so powerful because all of these instructional strategies that you see here are naturally woven and integrated through our lessons. And the reason why that's powerful is that students are able to connect with strategies that meet their needs. It's not something you have to go and recreate the wheel, right? It's done for you. And what you can ensure is that every single student's going to walk away and be able to take from these strategies and not only just apply it in the lesson, but remember it from years to come. So, what we're going to do today is we are going to do a lesson. And this is one of my favorite quotes by Benjamin Franklin. We all have seen this. Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. And that is what we are, who we are at TCI. We want to involve students so that they are able to learn in ways that are meaningful for them. So today, we are going to do a lesson immersion as if we were students in our classroom. And what I would like you to do as we're doing this lesson immersion together is think about all the different ways that we've embedded visual learning into our lesson, auditory learning, reading, writing, movement, because all of those perfectly fit together and they make all of our TCI lessons. Okay. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go live into a program in a minute or two, and we are going to go into a middle school program. So, if you're K-5 and you're 9-12, don't worry. I promise you, all of these learning styles are still woven into your platform in your lessons as well. But we chose middle school kind of to be like in the middle here for you. This is our Ancient World program, and we're going to go back thousands of years ago into ancient Mesopotamia. And we're going to be looking at 4 problems and challenges in ancient Mesopotamia, and we have to come up with the solutions. So, this is our preview, and I'm sure as a TCI user, you probably already know that is that hook. That's how we're going to engage our students and get them thinking and being invested in the problem before we even get into the content. So let's think. We're all together, sitting together in our classroom. And what I want you as a student to do is think about a recent problem or challenge that you have faced and what you did to solve it. So we're going to use our problem and solution box. But right now in chat, if you could just share with me as a 6th, 7th, 8th grade student, what problem might you experience and what do you think that solution might look like? So I'm going to give you a minute. I'm excited to see some of your responses. A
I mean,
problem and a
what
solution.
what problem would a middle schooler possibly have?
My mom wasn't answering her phone, so I called my dad.
My locker is stuck.
So what are
That's
those solutions too?
yeah,
Think about a solution, problem, and then what would you do to
turning
solve
it
it?
home. Or should have used my planner.
I love a
My
planner.
friend doesn't talk to me. I've heard that before. Slept in.
Oh my gosh, slept
Not
in,
having their
set my alarm.
computer charged. I'm hungry.
Hmm. I thought for sure there'd be so many responses linked to their cell phones and like social media, right? Oh, we are getting new lunch
Ugh.
tables. Good. So you see all of these problems as a student and then coming together as a solution. And what's great is when you're having these conversations in your classroom, every single student can have a voice. They will share out their problem and solution. And there's not going to be any student that thinks, oh, that's too challenging for me. That's too hard. They're all going to be able to share a problem and a solution. And here, I love this picture because this is probably one I've done with the class at some point. But usually the problem is, hey, you were on your phone. You didn't study. So if you don't use your phone, you will get an A because you're studying. So just some problem and solution things here. So again, let's take a look at this picture. I'm going to kind of set the tone for the bridge into the lesson. The people of ancient Mesopotamia faced challenges because of the geography of where they lived. We're going to be looking at four of these geographic challenges and discover how the solutions to them transformed Neolithic farming villages into a complex Sumerian city state. And what I'm going to do now is, Michael, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. He's going to grab screen for us really quickly and he's going to head us into that immersion together.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie. Thanks for setting it all up. And can everybody see my screen? I want to make sure I get a thumbs up.
You're good.
Perfect. So I want to also mention earlier in the chat, we asked Natasha put a link in that will give you all of our 6 strategies. And this strategy that we're focused on today is our response group strategy. And like Stephanie mentioned, whether you're in high school, middle school, or K-5, this strategy is going to look really similar across the board on how we engage students. So throughout today's lesson, I want you guys to once again to think about, like Stephanie mentioned, when is this lesson interacting with students' auditory skills? When is this lesson interacting with students' visual skills? Or when this lesson interacting with speaking skills? I want you guys to think about that all the different ways that we are trying to engage students within the lesson. So let's get into it. So in our response group strategies, we like to put students into groups, but today we're going to have you guys answer individually because we want to hear some of your answers about some of the solutions and problems that we're going to talk about. Now, Stephanie set up in the preview problems and solutions, and we're going to go into historically how people had problems and how they also found solutions for those problems as well. So we're trying to really connect the students from, their own lives of having problems, having solutions, how they solve those things, but also they can compare that people have been having problems for, millennia, and now that they also found ways to find solutions as well. So this lesson, we always want to start the students with having some little bit of background about what they're going to learn about. And one of the ways we do that here at TCI is that we have our student edition textbooks, and these textbooks happen to be digital and also in print. And one of the cool parts about our program is that when you do go into our print, and I know this is kind of looking a little small here, that there's a lot of digital support to help engage students as well. One of some of the major obstacles is getting students to read something or to engage into a reading. And here at TCI, we have multiple reading levels. So I want to give a plug to one of our newest tools, and that is our AI level reading. So we have levels from grades 2 to grades 12 that you can change a reading to for to support that students to match their grade levels. We also have other tools as we have text to speech.
1. Mesopotamia. A difficult environment.
And we also have the main ideas buttons that can kind of tell students like, hey, I just want you to read the main idea. I don't need you to get into all of the details of the reading. These are the things that are really important for you. So we have all these different things. And then one of my favorite tools, because we know that we have students from all different backgrounds and speak many different home languages. We have a translation tool within our program that can go into many different other languages. I'm just going to put Cantonese here just because it just stood out at me. And you can see now we have a little box that shows up, and also
喺身越肥沃嘅地方，叫做美。
it will also give a little text to speech in that language as well. So these are just some of the basic things that we also want to make sure that teachers know that are there that can help engage students. So after students are going to read a little bit about Mesopotamia and learn about the geography and some of the challenges people live with, we're going to kind of get into the hands-on activity part. But you can see we already had students read, we had students write. Now we're going to have students listen to one of the auditory audios that we have about a problem. So there's a problem. There's a food shortage in the hills of the people of Mesopotamia. And we're going to play this little video here, or sorry, this audio here, and we're going to have the students listen to it.
My fellow Mesopotamians, listen to me. We are all worried. We are all hungry. Our babies are crying because they don't have enough to eat. The farmers in the foothills don't grow enough food for all of us. If we are all going to survive, we must alter the course our village is taking. Here are 4 options as I see them. We could try increasing how often we plant crops, even though the land here can be difficult to farm. We could move out onto the river plains near the Tigris and Euphrates. The land there is rich, but both rivers flood unpredictably. We could abandon farming altogether and return to hunting and gathering. We could take food from other villages by force. Whatever course we decide, we must do it quickly. Please talk with and listen to your neighbors, and we will meet again soon.
So now we have those students in your class that love to talk, that love to engage, that want to, always, the students, you got to sometimes remind them that, they're not the only ones that are present. We're going to give them the opportunity to discuss this problem. What would you do? What would you do? You guys have to figure out how are you guys going to feed your families and feed your babies that are crying. So we come up and we have them say, you have 4 choices of a solution. You can decide to increase the number of times each year you farm. You can move down the river plains and try to grow more crops. You can abandon farming and return to hunting and gathering, or you can attack neighboring villages and steal their food. Now, I want you guys in the chat for me to think about if you are a middle school student and you propose that problem and you propose that solution, numbers 1 through 4, which number do you think they will choose? You guys can throw that in the chat for me. That'll be awesome. Which option?
They already know.
I see a 2. I see a 2 in there.
I do see some other. Anyone else have a differing opinion? Okay, 2. Love a
there's,
2.
There's some mature middle schoolers in here like we don't have to fight. But 2 and 4
there's
seem
a
popular.
3, Dana.
Okay.
Good, Jenna. Matt, Laura. They're
So
like, no.
And the cool part about this, the students are going to have to discuss their options. They're going to have to debate what they want to do. But they also have to justify with 2 reasons. You just can't say 4. You just can't say 2. They're going to have to tell us why. And once again, we are addressing the styles of students that are learning. So we're going to have the students be able to now verbally present their solutions. So every group is going to have a presenter, and they're going to tell the class what number they chose, and they're going to give 2 reasons why they chose it. We are working on, once again, multiple modalities of learning. audio learners, those that are, students that like to debate and go back and forth with one another. It's gonna probably 100% students are gonna probably, you might get a reaction from one another. And that's what we want. We want the excitement of that and the disagreement. We want them to tell us why they're gonna attack the neighboring villages or why they're gonna decide that they're gonna move down and to grow crops instead. And so we're starting that different ways that students learn because we can have students just write the answers down. We can have the students, just do that, like typically how often when we ask questions, but this is engaging that different style of learner. This is engaging that student that does want to express and talk about who they are, giving them those opportunities to do so. And that is just one aspect of this lesson and what TCI's, response group strategy, we try to bring in other ways that students do like to engage. Do you ask them to debate? Stella, you absolutely can. You can absolutely alter this and make this to where you think it fits your class. If, with me, I often got excited when I saw students getting engaged, and I would sometimes let it be organic, and I would let them, if I started seeing two students that were disagreeing, I would say to myself, yes, you can absolutely tell me why the other group is wrong, or tell me why that you disagree with them, And one of the cool parts about this is that we have a toolkit that really actually supports some of this discussion. Stephanie, you want to talk about the discussion toolkit real quick?
Yeah, our discussion toolkit is really helpful because what it will do is it gives teachers just like a little bit of background and basis on how you can support those conversations in your classroom. And it gives you a way to engage everybody. And at the very end, actually, not even at the end, Natasha's already given us the discussion toolkit. The
Yeah.
toolkit's phenomenal. You can grab it really quickly. You can print it out. You can save it as a file. But this is where you get to have any discussion. It doesn't even have to be a TCI discussion, right? But it will teach you how to have these healthy conversations, these healthy debates, and give students the ability to respect each other's opinions and be able to clearly communicate what they're feeling and what they're thinking. So we're going to give you support around some of these conversations that can look a little scary. So we have you covered. Don't have to worry about that. So,
Yeah,
oh, good, Monica. Good. She just said, I already love the toolkit. Love it.
I absolutely because like you guys, like Stephanie just mentioned, we know that classroom management and navigating the classroom is part of teaching as well. So we want to make sure that we're supporting that. We're just not going to say, hey, do this classroom discussion, but we want to give you some tools to help with that. So moving on with our lesson, continuing our lesson, we're going to have the students then actually read about what they did and letting you guys know, hate to be spoiler here, but they didn't attack the other villages. They actually decided to go ahead and move down and kind of find a better place for farming by the river. But when they decide to go to the river, they're going to learn that there's some more problems that also occurred. And just like again, we're trying to go back to that problem solution box that we started with in our preview, and we're going to have the students talk about, you know, how they state the problem. They're going to visually draw the problem, and this can be done digitally or it can be done in print with our interactive student notebook. We're going to have the students then, draw the actual problem and then also draw the solution. So they're not only talking about it, they're also visually describing it as well. And when we talk about engaging all learners, there are students that I've had that I can't get them to really raise their hand and express to me what they know. But then I give them a piece of paper and I ask them to draw it. And I see some of the most beautiful art and some of the best explanations of understanding that I've ever seen. And that is what we're talking about when we say engaging all, because we want to give all those different students a way to say what they know, not just one single way. So we're going to go into our second problem here. Problem B, not number B, problem B.
Same
and
thing.
This same. So now they move down by the river and it's like, great, we got water, we're farming, everything's good. But we also know that when you're by a river, what tends to happen? You get flooding. So I want you guys to listen to this transcript here.
My fellow Mesopotamians, our choice was the best, I think. We have moved out onto the river plains and can now grow the food we need. The rivers provide us with many good things. They yield life-giving crops in this dry, dusty climate. Without the rivers, the soil in this country would remain rock hard and we would die choking on the miserable dust. And the rivers leave behind fertile topsoil when the floodwaters leave. But we have a problem. We need to be able to control the supply of water. Otherwise, we face being wiped out in the next flood, or not having enough water when the rivers run low. The question is, how do we control the rivers? We must figure out how to provide our ever-growing village with a consistent, year-round supply of water. I implore each of you to draw and label a design and prepare to present and defend it before your fellow Mesopotamians. Remember, our very future is at stake.
So now they have a new solution. And this solution, they're just not going to just come up with by discussing. They're going to have to actually show us. And so what we're going to ask the students to do now, they're going to develop a water control system that is going to prevent the flooding. So we're going to have the students, get a poster paper, and they're going to have to come up ways that students, are going to have to, how would you stop the flooding? What would you do? Maybe some students are going to be fortunate enough to maybe live near a dam. They're going to know that. Some other students are going to come up with other different ways. But we want them to visually show us and then visually show their classmates on how you can come up with a solution about the flooding. Are these audios and transcripts available to all grade levels? Yes, and within our program, you're going to see video, audio. Anytime we have audio, we're going to have transcripts that go with them. Anytime we have video, we're going to have transcripts that also go with it too, as well, Tanya. I hope that answers your question. So after the students come up with their plan, once again, they're going to have to share this system with all their classmates. Because we don't want the same student always sharing, because we know that that's how it is with group work. We're going to say somebody new in your group has to share their plan for the water control system. And then each person from the group has to share one thing about their design, whether it's similar or different to what the previous group says. Martha, that's a very good question. Are the audios in different languages or just in English and Spanish?
Mm-hmm.
We have all our resources can absolutely go into Spanish. There's a really easy way to do it. One click of the button that this audio will go into Spanish. So TCI digital program is pretty much completely translates into Spanish, and the transcripts as well. Good questions. So that's awesome. I'm so glad you're excited.
It's the little things for teachers, really. It's the truth. The little things.
Hey, we're by teachers for teachers. We're here to support you.
That's right.
And once again, because we always want to enforce ELA, we're going to have students read still. We're going to have them learn about how the Mesopotamians did actually solve the flooding. To see, was their actual plans that they drew, was that accurate? Was it close? Were they were they on to the right, plans as well? And they're going to once again describe some of the things that they read, and they're going to also draw it again, the problem box and the solution box. We're referring right back to that preview that we started earlier.
You know what I love about this too, Michael, is that it's a little bit competitive for students too. They want to see if they're right or if they're wrong, and they want to make sure that they're the right answer. So they do get to kind of engage a little bit in inquiry when they're coming in to find and pull that evidence of what happened to the people of Mesopotamia. So there's a lot of buy-in for students to check to see if they're right or wrong.
And once again, I want to just, make sure everybody that's K-5 and high school know that our lessons like this is the way the structures of the lessons are across the board. Obviously, what we're asking the students to do is going to be different, whether it's, whatever level it's going to be, but the way that the lesson is structured in the sense of how we're trying to build on all these modalities, that is going to be one of the things that we continue, that you'll see across the board. Stella, good question. Does this lesson take 50 minutes or over several days? A lesson like this is gonna not, it's gonna be more than 50 minutes. Obviously, you could adjust the time as needed. But if I'm asking students to do artwork and to draw things and to discuss, I'm going to have to give them some time. That amount of time that you give is really teacher privilege always, but we do have a structured, set of kind of planning time for you, but this is definitely going to be multiple days. And I don't have it up exactly, Stephanie. I don't know if you have, but the actual amount of time that we have planned for this lesson.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure, but there's always ways that you can, skip over certain sections. If you were in this lesson and you didn't have a lot of time, you could choose to do like problem A, problem B, and not C and D. So there's ways to shorten it with video activities in middle school, or, just the standard lesson cycle typically takes about a week, depending if you want to do every single part of it. So it's really flexible
Yeah.
and customizable. Yeah.
And Monica makes a really good point. If you're asking the students read and also answer questions in the workbook, that's going to also take some time as well. So by no means, when we say lesson at TCI, we really mean chapter, because it's not just one day. It's going to be, typically 2 to 3 days of lessons, or could be even up to like five. I think this lesson, in my mind, it would take me about 3 days to complete. If I had three 50-minute periods, I would say to complete. So I'm going to go to this last problem real quick, and then we're going to kind of wrap up the lesson for you. The last problem that the students had is that now they're standing in an irrigation canal. They're holding a shovel in the hot sun. So I'm going to put the transcript up and play this for you.
My good people, we have done it. We have made a great deal of progress since we began carrying water in buckets to our crops. We have built dams, reservoirs, levees, and canals. We now successfully plant and harvest 2 crops a year. None of us ever goes hungry. We have controlled the rivers. I am very proud of our work. But now we have a new challenge. The rivers clog our irrigation systems with silt, or fine particles of soil. The canals and reservoirs get filled with it and can no longer carry or hold the water we depend upon. The whole irrigation system must be maintained or it will simply stop working. If one village cleans the silt out of a canal but another does not, the entire system can fail. Our survival depends on finding the best way to maintain this complex irrigation system so we can continue to thrive. What can we do? Can we find an answer?
Can they find an answer? So students will once again need to decide about the irrigation issue, and they'll discuss these options. Will they maintain only canals around your village? Are you going to say, I'm only worrying about my village and that's it? Are they going to force members of other villages to maintain their irrigation systems throughout the year? Are they going to cooperate, it's not enforcing, cooperate with other villages to maintain their irrigation systems? Or are they going to abandon irrigation all together and they say, this is too hard. I'm just going to just return to collecting water and just kind of carrying it to the river fields. So in the chat, I want you guys to just put, what do you think the middle school students would put for this solution? Would they want to just worry about themselves? Are they going to try to force somebody else? Are they going to work together? Or are they just going to give up on the irrigation system?
Got some threes, some ones.
A lot of
Everyone,
threes.
I know, a lot of threes. We're all
A lot of
cooperating together
threes.
in this session.
You guys are awesome because when I think about a middle school student, I think about my favorite middle school student. And when I say favorite, you know what favorite I'm talking about. That
Yeah,
favorite.
they are a lot of
So
interaction with them.
yeah. Well, and if three is the choice for a lot of people, I think that is, an awesome choice. Then we still once again are going to have our students speak, and now we're going to have another speaker. So that means that everybody has at least in the groups of three is going to have spoken at least once, and they're going to explain and give 2 reasons why they chose their number, reinforcing the public speaking once again, reinforcing the discussions, reinforcing all the things that we discussed a little bit earlier. So I'm gonna go ahead a little bit further, but once again, the same rules are going to apply. We do have this repetition in TCI about them reading and trying to find information and then putting it down, but continuing, the same theme. the problem D is gonna happen. That's about the attacking neighbors. And so they're gonna this is always a fun one to kind of to wrap things up with. We're gonna have them create a poster paper of designing a defense system for their city. So like once again, if you're gonna have students do things like this, it takes a little time, but it's just so much fun because you know they're gonna have get excited about, what their defense system's gonna look like and how they're gonna defend from the other people and the other villages around them. So they'll present that as usual. They'll once again read and then draw the problem and solution like we've had them do. And now we're going to have them kind of work on a flow chart. And this flow chart kind of works to once again of students showing that there was a problem, then there was a solution, then that solution led to another problem, and continue that kind of cycle and through that chart. But once again, we're trying to build off of the students' visuals so they can visually see how these problem solutions actually work with one another.
Yeah, and just so you know, we have a lot of these text structures built naturally into our program because it's expository, right? So if you're teaching ELA skills, you can reinforce like this is problem solution. We're going to find that in our text. And we do actually have support toolkits that help support ELA strategies as well, but this is another way that we're doing that here naturally in the platform.
Yeah. And then Stella, do you read the sections in their group? That is once again, I would say that that's teacher privilege. I typically would have them read to themselves and then discuss as a group, but I would have them answer together as a group because I feel like for this assignment, I'm having them work together and they're having them thinking in the sense of as if they're of their own village. Every group's their own village trying to figure out and decide some of the situations. Some of the cool things we have with TCI is that, once again, to engage different style of learners, you have these drag and drops where I'm just putting things in here. As a class, you can have students come up and put those in, or you can go ahead and, have call students or call groups out, and then you can check answers. And I got all of them wrong
Way to
except
go.
one, but great job for me. But this is just one more supports and other ways to engage students as well.
Yeah.
The most important part about a TCI lesson is the debrief. And we really want to make sure that we kind of check on what the students were learning. So we are then have this is when we have this class discussion. This is where we fill in some holes about what the students didn't know or weren't sure about during the lesson, some of the challenges, and we refer back to some of the reading as well. So if you are doing a TCI lesson, never ever skip this part because it's really important. And once again, it's those kids that are in class that are sometimes afraid to ask questions. You give them those opportunities because somebody's going to ask a question that they probably want to hear, and you're able to really address that as a group.
Perfect. And I think I'm going to grab screen here.
No, sorry, Steph. The last part, I'm sorry, it's just the
Nope.
process. Sorry. I have one more thing to show you because
Go
this is
ahead.
one of my favorite parts of this lesson is that we get to see students' creativity once again, and they get to actually create a real estate advertisement about their city state of Mesopotamia, and why they should live there, have illustrations, why the place is so great. But once again, taking all that knowledge, wrapping it up, and putting in a nice, pretty little bow of kind of wrapping what the students know about what they experienced in that lesson. So hopefully you guys can see like all the different ways that we are engaging students. But Stephanie's going to take it a little bit and kind of show you guys to see if you guys how close you were paying attention. Now we have a test. You have a test, Stephanie? No,
We're
I'm
going to see
joking.
how close. Yeah, let's go ahead and see. So actually, what we're going to do right now is I'm going to ask for you once again to take out your cell phones, go ahead and scan this QR code, because what I do want you to see is I want to see what different learning styles did you observe. So I'm going to give it a quick second because I do want to get this up for me and make sure I have the correct Mentimeter up for you.
Lisette,
So
now
give
you
me
know.
1
Now you
minute.
know you can't have any more excuses. TCI, you know that TCI, we are engaging students so many different ways in a lesson. So I'm glad that you saw that and hope you're excited.
Okay, so go ahead and take out your phones. Go ahead and tell us what different learning styles did you observe during that classroom activity? And again, yes, there's probably going to be more than one. That's the point here. Look at that. Yeah. There's a nice balance, right? There's movement with students moving in groups. They're working together out of their seats. There's visuals. There's auditory transcripts, writing, problem solving, linguistic conversations. And the beauty in all of that is that all of your students are going to get what they need to be engaged in the content, to understand it deeply, to connect it to their lives, connect it to thousands of years ago, and be able to apply it into the future, but then also really be able to retain that information, right? We're building those critical thinking skills, we're building those inquiry skills, and that is what makes TCI so special, is that we have a little bit of everything for all of your students.
And can I
So,
just say, Stephanie, that
should say
what
it,
it
yeah.
also does is that it gives every a student opportunities to shine, right? It gives that student that wants to talk an opportunity to present. It gives that student that is artistic the opportunity to draw, to be creative. It gives that student that is wants to read and then share what they read to their classmates an opportunity, to their group mates, to show their knowledge and their abilities as well. So like it just gives so much opportunity for kids to show their style and their way of learning.
Yeah, and I love that, Michael, and that is so true. And just kind of like tie it into everything. And this is again like you guys are teachers. You've been teaching for many, many years. You know students, you understand kids better than anyone. So you already know that there's not just one way for every single student to grab and understand content. But I think sometimes when we're in the instruction, we're getting ready to teach, it's not that we forget, but sometimes we just need to be reminded that, hey, like, don't worry, all of this is naturally embedded into the platform. So we've got you covered. We have all these different ways that students are going to be engaged. And sometimes it's just nice for us as teachers to know, okay, whew, we're supported. We have something that's going to work for all of our students, even though we already know, like you're experts, you know that every single kid learns a little bit differently. And that's really what makes TCI so powerful, is that we're not passive. We don't want students just sitting and reading out of a textbook and finding questions and calling it a day, right? We want students to learn through multiple modalities. We want them to have engagement through multiple modalities. We want them to be working together cooperatively, because we know that that boosts learning. We know that they're going to want to come back to Mr. Washington's class tomorrow if they know that they feel successful and confident in what they're learning, right? So TCI isn't just giving you fun and games. We're giving you confidence builders. We're giving you differentiation so students can access that content. And we want their goals for learning to be authentic to students, to be clear for you so you know how to measure that learning. So we're going to give you those tools to do that. But really, we're giving you linguistic and non-linguistic experiences, which are so important. And just kind of like to tie it back to the copier, like way back when at the beginning of our session, we were giving you a challenge as an adult, and we as adults experience challenges every day. But there are different ways that us, even at like my age, has to learn. And I'm going to use everything I can to be able to feel successful with that, which is why I wanted to do the copier experience, because we're all there, we all have that
And
experience.
and Stella, Natasha just also answered in chat, but we also have different because we have so many different ways and modalities and strategies of learning. This lesson is one style, but we're going to have a lot of other engaging styles of to get our students within the lesson, because although this lesson is, I feel like, really does address a lot of modalities of learning, we have other lessons that maybe focus more on the visual aspect, or some other lessons that focus more on the writing aspect of it, or some that focus more on the group work. So with a TCI lesson, we create these lesson plans and these classroom activities and hands-on activities for you, that for teachers to be able to apply and to teach into their classrooms in so many different ways. So although this is one of the great ways, we have a lot of other great ways too. This is all we had the time that we had to
Just a
show
little
you.
bit. Yeah. I mean, if you were in person with us, we'd be doing tug of war, we'd be playing games. Like the lesson immersions are phenomenal, but this is a really great way, since we're all collectively together virtually, that we can all feel included. We have about 5 minutes before I have to dismiss you on time to period two, and I do not want to get in trouble for that. So I am going to give you a little plug to support us on social media. I will say that we all check to see who's in Facebook, who's in Instagram. So please feel free to kind of grab some of these social media tags and join us. You get product updates right away as soon as they're available. We have professional development to support you. And we also, here's our in-app PD with Brian Thomas, who kind of joined kicked off our summit. He's phenomenal. So we do have support tools for the educator, you as well. If you're interested in being a TCI coach, we have a course that you can take if you would like to kind of spearhead some of that happening in your district, in your team. Please feel free to take that coach, but that class rather. But then also to kind of like let you go, we do want to give out some free stuff for you, right? Everyone loves some free gift cards. There's going to be 50 winners in this summit. $50 each. And all you have to do is stay engaged in sessions, share on social media, and take the survey for you to win and be a big winner, winner chicken dinner. And then also, we of course love to see how you experience your summit session. So please feel free to add anything on social media, hashtag TCI Summit 26, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, etc. And I think we have about 4 minutes before you need to get to your next period. So here are all the different courses that we are offering here. So choose one that you think is going to help rejuvenate you and feel refreshed for the school year. Pick one and we will see you there.
Can I give a plug to level up your classroom gamification? Because
See, now
that's
I
my
wasn't going to
that's
say
my lesson.
anything.
I come see. If you want more Michael, that's where you can find me.
You know what? And I wasn't gonna say what session I was going to do, but since you had to tell everybody, I'm gonna tell everyone what session I'm doing. If you would love to differentiate and enrich TCI, please feel free to come to my session. That's K5. We're gonna talk about differentiation and all things inclusivity. So,
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with any of these sessions at
correct.
all. They're all gonna be awesome. You can also see that there are some grade level focus too, if that's what you are looking for as well. But they're all gonna be amazing.
And guess what? If you can only go to one today, but later we will upload all of these into your TCI dashboard. So you can scroll into PD. If you scroll all the way to the bottom of professional development, all of our summit sessions are available for you, and you can take whatever course and watch whichever ones you want. So they're all available to you. But yeah, Michael and I, we have a friendly competition. Who can have the most attendees? And he's already trying now. So,
I mean I'm just saying it's gonna be fun. No, they're all gonna be
um,
great. But is there any
really quick,
questions
yes.
that you guys have before we move on to our next
And
period?
thank you for participating. Thank you for joining our session. It was lovely having everyone here today. And thank you, Natasha, for all your hard work with answering questions and sharing out those documents. Teamwork makes the dream work, and I'm so happy that everyone's here to kind of support one another. And if I don't see you in the next session, I hope you have a fantastic start of the school year. I hope it's the best year yet.
So we need a link for the survey.
Oh, we do.
Where is We'll get you that link here in a second.
Is that for the feedback form? Is that the one that
I
we're
I
looking
think I
for?
think that's what they're asking for.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep. And this, keep this link handy, and then once you get through all the sessions, because it's going to ask you things like which sessions were most helpful to you, that type of stuff. So if you can hold off to fill it out at the end, but we want you to fill it out because that's going to give you another entry into that drawing for $50. And then also that's how you get that certificate. And I know folks want to make sure they get their
I
professional
They
hour.
want their cert. Yeah.
So yeah.
Well,
I
well,
love that.
thank you, everybody. Thanks,
Yeah.
Stephanie. Thanks, Natasha. Thanks you all for participating. This was so much fun.
Yeah, and we will see you in class period 2. And look at that, we're right on time. You can transition right into your next session. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
All right, bye you guys. We've got that summit lobby in chat. And so you can, as you're kind of wrapping up here, you can be looking at what session you want to join. You just hit the join button. It's automatically going to move you from this session into the next session. So you won't miss a beat. And Stephanie and Michael, I know you guys both have sessions. Feel free to
We have
go,
to
and I
run.
will
Yep.
just make sure everyone gets
Bye.
makes their way to the next session. Fantastic. Okay, I'm gonna pop into that lobby again. Make sure that you scroll down into the period 2 sessions. You'll see the period 2 sessions. They all have a 2 at the beginning, so it'll be 2A through to 2J. And then, like I mentioned before, you hit that purple join, and then that will take you to the to the next session, it'll automatically exit you out of this session, move you on to the next session.